Welcome to my channel. I'm Lena. Today I'm discussing the new Airbnb updates from the perspective of a host. What do these updates mean for hosts? Are these good, bad, middle of the road? And how will this change our Airbnb business? So I am a small Airbnb host. We have an Airbnb that is in our house that we are using to house hack. It is a small studio with one bedroom and one bathroom that we remodeled. If you want to learn more about our Airbnb journey and all the setup and all the numbers and all that stuff, I have a whole Airbnb playlist. So go ahead and check that out if you want to learn more about that. But today we are going to be discussing the new Airbnb updates that are coming out. So I'm going to include a link for you guys in the description of where you can go and look at all these updates for yourself. I'm just going to highlight some of the ones that are important to me as a host and what that means for us hosts out there. So they're saying that there's 50 updates, so there's a lot of different little things. And so I was kind of reading through all of them, and most of them are just little software updates, like, okay, now it's going to be easier to upload your photos or your video or something like that. So it's kind of like we fixed an app glitch or something, but not necessarily big policy changes. So the majority of them are just like that. So I'm going to talk about the ones that are bigger than that. So one of the new features is Ask a Superhost. So this is connecting new hosts with superhosts that have a similar Airbnb to them so that the new hosts can learn from the experienced host and can get some pointers about how to make their Airbnb even better. So this is a pretty hands-off move from Airbnb because they're allowing all the hosts, again, to take on all the extra work. This is not Airbnb saying, we'll look over your listing and try to give you some pointers based off some things that we're seeing or stuff like that. They're like, go ask a different host and have them do the work. And I do understand that Airbnb is a huge platform, so there's so many hosts, so it would be definitely hard to help each new host with specific pointers if they were hiring people that work at Airbnb to help the new hosts. But this is also kind of just giving the work to the superhosts. So when we started our Airbnb, this was not available, so we were kind of just figuring things out by ourselves. We're looking at other listings to see how they did it, and Airbnb was not giving us any assistance with any of that. There's definitely a few pointers built into the system already about what kind of listings perform better than others, but we didn't have anyone in particular assigned to us, and there wasn't anyone there to help us optimize our own listing. Of course, we did figure it out and make it work, but having that support could have been nice. The other thing to think about is, who are these superhosts? It doesn't actually take that long to become a superhost. They may have changed the process along the way a little bit, but our first superhost ranking, I think we got within like 3 months because our response rate was good and people were staying at our Airbnb and they were writing us 5-star reviews, stuff like that. So I think we definitely wouldn't have been ready to help someone else set up their new listing after 3 months of running our own Airbnb. We really don't know that much, so I don't know how helpful would this be to new hosts if the superhosts are barely farther out than you are and you're asking another busy superhost to volunteer their time to help you out. In the section about hosts, it says hosting made easier, and I'm not totally convinced all of these things are actually going to make hosting easier, but they're trying to spin it that way so that hosts are excited about adopting these new changes. So one of the new possible features is that you could have your short stay cleaning fees be less. So they're saying that you could reduce your cleaning fee if people are only staying for a night or 2 nights. So let's be honest, this is really not about hosts, this is about catering to guests, which is not bad, but we have discovered as real Airbnb hosts that the same amount of cleaning or even more cleaning can happen on a one-night stay. Short stays end up being just as much mess, and sometimes even more. I don't know why this is, but it's totally true. You still have to clean the bathroom top to bottom, you still have to change all the sheets and replenish everything, and sometimes people coming for short stays, they often make more mess than the people coming for an entire week. And sometimes they bring even more trash than the people coming for an entire week. And I don't know why that is, but it's true. So I'm like, okay, so who decided that this was gonna be a good new feature for hosts? It doesn't mean that I'm spending less time cleaning the Airbnb when our guests only stay for 1 or 2 nights. It also doesn't mean that they use less things. So we have little goodies in our Airbnb like bars and coffee pods and stuff. And sometimes the one-night people use all of the things, and that's fine because, you know, they paid for it, but it is not less work to have someone stay for one night than it is to stay for a week. I almost think I would do it the other way around, is reduce people's cleaning fee if they book for longer, because if they book for a week, then I don't have to clean during that week, because if I have 4 different guests during the week, I have to clean the Airbnb 4 times, but if they stay for a whole week, I only have to clean 1 time. So I would be more likely to give the discount to the person that is staying for a week as opposed to the person that's staying for 1 night. Another feature that they have added is doing a Wi-Fi speed test that you can do in the Airbnb app. And I think the idea behind this is to encourage remote workers to feel confident that they can come to your space and there will be enough Wi-Fi to do their work. So I'm kind of excited about this, but I feel like it's a little bit of a mixed bag because most of the time our Wi-Fi is great. But I cannot guarantee that the Wi-Fi is going to always be fast because we kind of live in a rural area and sometimes the service is great and sometimes the service is a little bit less than great. And I'm wondering if these remote workers who feel like they are going to get that speed of Wi-Fi all the time are going to start getting angry if they come to a place and the Wi-Fi is spotty, but there's nothing I can personally do about it. But then they're like, well, I can't do my work because the Wi-Fi is not good enough, and then they get upset at their host about something that is really out of the host's control. So we will definitely be doing this. We'll test our Wi-Fi and put it on there. I'm just hoping that guests can be understanding if the Wi-Fi is not perfect all the time. Another feature they are adding is I'm even more flexible so that guests can be flexible within a 12-month period to see what kind of listings they can get. But for me as a host, I don't want to have my calendar open for 12 months because a lot can change in 12 months. And if someone books, 8 months, 10 months in advance, I want to honor their reservation, of course. And that just makes me a little bit nervous because things change, lives change, circumstances change. I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking of all the worst case scenarios, but having our calendar open up to 12 months is not really something that we're interested in. So the hosts are still in control of this, how much of your calendar people can see and book. So for us, we're just sticking to 6 months, and that already feels like quite a bit of in the future to me. Airbnb is now adding a pet fee option. So in the long-term rental world, it's not unusual for there to be a non-refundable pet deposit when you move into a new rental, or even pet rent, like every month you're paying $30 of pet rent. And this is to help your landlord account for the damages that animals often make on a property. So this is kind of the incentive for hosts to accept that extra risk of having a pet at their location. So our Airbnb is a pet-free Airbnb, except for service animals, of course. So we have had a few people that brought their service animals. So to further encourage the hosts to allow pets, they also added some pet damage protection. They're kind of adding some insurance for hosts that if a pet damages something or is involved in some sort of liability issue, there is protection for that, and there is money to help the hosts. They also added some income loss protection. So this means if you have someone stay and they leave on Monday and you go in there and you realize that things are seriously damaged and you're going to have to cancel the rest of your reservations that week, Airbnb will help you recoup some of the losses of having to cancel those reservations while you repair your space. So Airbnb gives us these insights about what people are looking for in an Airbnb, and some of them are child friendly, pet friendly, and has a hot tub. And we are child friendly, we don't have a hot tub, but we are not pet friendly. So I think their goal is to have more hosts be pet friendly to better meet the needs of guests. I'm also guessing this would increase your ability to host people for remote work, because if they have pets and they're planning on staying away from their normal place of residence for a month or two, they would need to have a place that would allow their pets. If hosting pets is something that you're interested in, I can see these protections as being good for that, but at the same time, I would really like to avoid that damage altogether. So even if Airbnb can help me with my lost reservations and my repairs from the pet damages, I don't necessarily want to be taking the time to deal with all of that. So when someone came and visited with their pet, there was definitely problems afterwards. There was all this dog food in the carpet and things were definitely dirtier, and I had to clean every single item in the Airbnb, and then we also ended up needing to carpet clean. So having that pet probably added at least 3 or 4 hours of work to cleaning the Airbnb, and I'm not sure I'd want to do that on a regular basis. So even if Airbnb refunded me for the next reservation, I still hate to cancel on people because they were counting on a place to stay, and it's not all about the money. If our guests are left out in the cold because the previous person had an animal that caused a bunch of damage to our space, that is just a downer for everyone, in my opinion. Because our turnaround time is 4 hours because they check out at 11 and the next person can check in at 3. That doesn't give me very much time to do all that extra work that is often associated with hosting a pet. Let me know down in the comments which one of these Airbnb upgrades are you excited about? Which ones do you feel like are pluses and which ones are negatives? Let me know down in the comments. Let YouTube know that you enjoyed this video by hitting that like button. If you'd like to see more videos from me, please subscribe to my channel, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye for now.